Brazilian people are very happy people. Doesn't matter. I see some poor people, rich people. Don't doesn't matter. Like it's not about money. It's kind of inside. Like we are very happy and family people. Like we love to be with our family. Family is super important. That's what I love the most about Brazilian people.
Welcome to Locales Unknown. This podcast gives you the tools you need to choose your next travel destination and the tips you want to be able to explore like a local. Here are your hosts, Chris and Winfield.
Hello, everyone. Today we have the privilege of interviewing Camila. She's a close friend and actually introduced me to my now wife. So she's always been a shining light in both of our lives. And she gives us some really unique insights into Brazil. We're going to talk about everything from carnival to food, where you should go, and what you're really going to see down there. So it's going to be a great episode.
Yeah, and I have had the privilege of knowing Winfield and Bibi for a while now, and just to hear the origin story of how it all started and their relationship, and being able to connect that to Camila was awesome. And just hearing all the other tips down in Brazil, it's definitely a spot that I want to get down to. Winfield, of course, has had the privilege of being down there, knowing everybody down there, and experiencing it. So, guys, you're really going to like this one. Grab your favorite beverage, sit down, relax, and yeah, this one's a good one.
So without further ado, here's our interview with Camila. Hello, everyone. Today we are here with Camila de Souza, and we're going to be talking about Brazil and everything that it encompasses. It's a vast country, 210 million people, really the size of a continent. It takes up 2/3, I would say, of the South American continent. So, Camila, thank you so much for joining us today. Why don't you give us a brief overview of not only growing up in Brazil, but how you came to the States?
Oh, no problem. Hi, my name is Camila. So growing up in Brazil is it's very good, and it's very unique. Like our culture is very strong, and my family is a very we like to do a lot of stuff together. I remember like growing up as doing a lot of trips together with my family, like family trips. So around, I know a lot of states in Brazil, not because I traveled by myself, but also because I traveled with my mom and my daddy. My dad is from Pernambuco, and my mom is from Ceará, both like two states in the northeast of Brazil. And I'm from Sao Paulo. So I remember even like growing up, because the accent is different, everything is different from one state to another. So I remember like even growing up, like experiencing those differences. But I always loved to travel a lot and explore. And I didn't like much to try new foods over there because, but yeah, but I always had this it comes from the family, like this my daddy always like, okay, let's pack and let's do something. Let's go to the beach, let's go to the country. Some of my uncle have like a country house, so we used to go there just to see like chickens, like everything, like very unique, very like country life. I remember like seeing for the first time I was like 5 or something, seeing like chicken, like an egg, and I was so like excited. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the best day ever. And I was, so that's like in the Northeast, like when I used to travel like with my family, so in my hometown, like growing up, it was always like we like to play a lot at the streets, play like some games with each other, like hide and seek, uh, tag, tag too, and yeah, it was like that. So I don't know.
No, definitely, and That's what's really interesting. A bit of context for listeners on a couple of points. So we cannot overstate how big Brazil is, and we typically talk about Brazil in terms of regions. So the southeast, Sao Paulo, being the main state, I would say the main. It's not officially the capital. The capital is Brasilia, but it is the main center of commerce. It is that a lot of its wealth is owed to coffee, amongst other cash crops, and so that's kind of would you say, the center point of the southeast. And the northeast is very different. I've never actually personally been there, but Camila just mentioned two states in the northeast, Sierra and Pernambuco, which are distinctly different, not only culturally, but also, as you said, in terms of different accent.
Yeah, it's when you go to like even for example, Minas, São Paulo, and Espírito Santo. They're all in. I think there's one more in southeast. And even though like we have different accents and different way of like saying the same thing, so it's very interesting how it is in Brazil. I mean, I see a lot of difference like in here too, but I feel, for example, like a person from Texas and a person from New York, or like even like Baltimore, they say, oh, like they can pick a lot. We can pick a lot like the accent, but I mean, there's in Brazil, it's more like even like cultural saying. Like there is a different kind of things in different states. The music they listen, the food we eat. So in São Paulo, we have more food from all over the world, let's say. So in other states, I don't know. I mean, I personally have been only to like some states in Brazil, but in São Paulo, I know for sure there's like a street called Rua Augusta that's full of like food from everywhere, like India, like China. There's a Chinatown in São Paulo that's huge community of Chinese people, Japanese people. So it's very like good food from in São Paulo from other countries. So we can find a lot in São Paulo to do, a lot of fun, and yeah. So
Yeah, it's interesting. I myself have never been down to Brazil, but being that it's so vast, it makes so much sense that it would be so culturally different, but yet unified by the fact that it's all under one flag and one banner. And, I would say it's very similar in a lot of ways, as you mentioned, to here, from coast to coast, from California up to the Northeast, two different countries. In the middle of the country, different country from both. So, and I'm sure, now that you've had a lot of experience in North America and the United States in particular, you probably see that as well. Would you draw that comparison too? Say the same thing?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like we see a lot of different, culturally saying, and even the laws are different from state to state. In Brazil, it's not like that. It's like the law is for all the country. It's not only like state by state, but some stuff like can. But the main things like here, some only like some governments can decide. In Brazil, it's not like that. They have to be for like a federal law enforcement, but what else?
So go ahead.
I was going to ask, because you mentioned you moved to the United States in 2016, so it's been about 5 years. It's 2021 now. When you were growing up, you also mentioned that your dad was the type of person that would pack the car and just say, let's go. Did you ever make it up to the U.S. before you decided to move here, or did you do any trips?
No, so I started studying English when I was 12.
Okay.
So I always learned about the culture here. So I remember a lot of my teachers saying about s'mores. That's the thing in my mind that keeps in my mind. Like, so American people, kids, they love s'mores. I was like, teacher, what is s'mores? And then she taught us the recipe with some different ingredient because we don't have. I think the cracker is different in Brazil. Like so. And then she I think she brought everything to the class and she taught us how to make s'mores and I was like, oh my god, was the thing of her, and I was like, oh my god, that's so good. And some traditions, for example, Halloween. When I
Mhm.
experienced Halloween for the first time in here, I was, oh my gosh, I was so happy and excited to be here. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the best day ever. So it's very interesting, like how. So that's how I kind of got, interested in moving. But I'm the first person in my family that moved here. So my mom, she already came to visit, but she don't want to leave. She don't mind. And unfortunately, my dad, he passed away. So um, and my brother, he want to come to visit maybe one day, but he didn't have the chance yet.
No, exactly. And I had the pleasure of meeting your mother, and I hope she's listening, and hope to meet your brother when I head down next time as well.
Yeah. Oh my
So
God. I'm praying for that. I hope you guys can meet.
definitely share a cachaça or a Brahma skull together.
But yeah, he likes Brahma. He loves Brahma. Brahma is like typical beer from Brazil. Is like Brahma Chopp. We call Chopp Brahma. That's like draft, and it's like one of the most popular beers in Brazil is Brahma and Skol. So we have like a fight. It's like, no, Brahma is better. No, Skol is better. So we kind of fight. I remember at college like having this. They had like parties like, but Brahma versus Skol, or like Heineken versus Budweiser. But anyway, so it's a very popular beer, and I hope you guys can share because my brother don't like cachaça very much, Winfield, but I don't know because it's been such a long time that I don't see my brother, but I think he don't like that much. He likes more vodka and stuff, but
No,
and
Kuiper vodka.
Kuiper vodka, that's true. But yeah, I think he likes it. But cachaça, like I like a little bit, like just to taste a little bit because it's actually very good. You like cachaça more than tequila, Winfield?
Yes, no, I do personally. So a bit of context. Cachaça is basically sugarcane liquor, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
sweet whatsoever. So when we think of rum or liquors of that nature that have that syrupy aftertaste, cachaça is not that whatsoever. You taste the sugar on the end, but it's extremely dry, and typically the cheaper it is, the harsher it is. So in that
Mm-hmm.
sense, there's a parallel with tequila, but it's often lost on gringos, and I'll admit it was for me too. The difference, because when you go to a bar, especially in the United States, you say, "Oh, do you have cachaça?" People will say, "What's that? Tequila?" But it's actually
Mm-hmm.
something that's completely different, and the distillation process is completely different, the
Yes.
purification, and there are some very kind of similar to Scotch or any other really aged whiskey. There are some very
Yeah, my
old,
daddy.
very expensive, award-winning cachaças.
Yeah, my daddy. He loved it. Like he loved it. It was his favorite. Like to taste it all the time. Like he liked it. So um, I remember like he had like some like a container that he used to put some stuff to make it like to age a little bit the cachaça for some certain period of time, and then eventually he you could add like some fruit or some stuff. I don't know what like for sure what he added on it, but I remember seeing that he preparing his own like cachaça. He used to buy the cachaça, and then he was there like preparing it so it could age a little bit and taste even better. So I wish you
Barril.
have met my dad, Wingfield.
Yes, no, I wish I had that pleasure as well. Yeah, in a barril, right? Barrel.
No, barril. Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, exactly. We're getting we're getting into the drinks early in this episode. That's that's a bit dangerous, but
Why? I don't.
no, no, just bringing things back a bit to Sao Paulo.
Mm-hmm.
So, largest metropolis in the Americas. It's absolutely massive space. I can never get an accurate population reading on it. The last I heard was about 22.5 million, including probably about 60 miles in each direction. So that's huge.
Yeah,
Can
it
you
is.
can you kind of put it into context for listeners? Of course, we think of New York and we think of LA and we think of Tokyo. I mean, just huge
Yeah,
metropolises. But
it's as
yeah,
it's
how
actually
different is each
bigger.
neighborhood in Sao Paulo?
So it's actually bigger than New York. I think a little bit bigger in because New York has the the sea part, the island, and São Paulo we don't have it. So in population, it's actually more in land. So yeah, and in São Paulo we also have we segregate some parts of some neighborhoods. So it's like south of São Paulo, north São Paulo, and it's a different area. Like north, it's more, um, yeah, like the more poor people. It's in south of São Paulo. North is more like um, it's a fancier neighborhood. There's a lot of um, nice restaurants. Paulista, if I'm not wrong, I think it's yeah, like Zona Norte, like a north zone of São Paulo.
Itaim
And
Bibi, my favorite.
hmm?
Itaim Bibi, my favorite
Itaim
neighborhood
Bibi.
next to Jardines.
Ah, oh my God, Jardins is very fancy. And Jardim, there's some areas nearby Parque do Ibirapuera that's a very
Mhm.
popular. It's a must going when you go to São Paulo. You definitely should check uh, Parque do Ibirapuera. It's like Central Park. It's literally it's as big as Central Park. It's very. It's not that that big, but it's very nice. It's a must going, and nearby Parque do Ibirapuera has a lot like some houses that looks the same as here. The way they did the constructions in terms of safety, I think, because there's no like walls. Because usually in Brazil, most of the house has like some huge walls in front of the house. Then you put a gate and some stuff to make it safer. Um, some house here I see it, but not much. I mean, not very like very short amount. But in Brazil, this neighborhood nearby Parque de Ibirapuera looks like a lot like here. It's interesting.
And you hit on a couple of points there that are quite interesting. I was going to say my next question was going to be what is the one of the highlights for a visitor who's never been to Sao Paulo before, and Parque de Ibirapuera is definitely in that
Yeah,
conversation. It is
yeah,
really special. And Sao Paulo is a big city, and people often say there's not a lot to see, but I think there's more to see than meets the eye.
yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you about specifically as well, if you're familiar with Parque Estadual Cantareira,
Mm,
because I went there with my wife 4 years ago now, and by some metrics, it's the largest urban park in the world within a certain metropolitan area. And
mhm.
I think it's important to give listeners a bit more insight as to there's so much greenery in Sao Paulo, even though it is a big city.
Yeah, there is.
There are a lot of trees. There's a lot of natural feel.
Mm-hmm. There is. That's true. There's a lot of and the zoo area. I don't know if you went to the zoo in São Paulo, but there's a huge like nature area around the zoo, and there is. That's true. Um, Another like must going that I would say to when you go to São Paulo, they just built. There's a building that's called Sampa Sky that looks like the Chicago sky. You know when you have the view from Chicago that you go all the
Mhm.
way. There's the same style, so you can go and take picture and see all São Paulo from like a nice point of view. And there is I was looking because I never went to this to this place, but they now have like a experience in Sao Paulo that you can go. I have a friend that she went there and it looks fun. Like you can have dinner, it, like they, for somehow there's like like somehow they like an elevator brings you all the way up, like I don't know how many people, a lot, and then you can eat there and see all the view from Sao Paulo. It's like eating at the sky, something like that. The name, like the
Dinner in the sky.
yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
they have quite a few of those around the world. So I know there was one over in, I believe it was Kuala Lumpur, one in Dubai. So they're popping up everywhere. They're, for anyone who's not familiar, they hold you up by a crane, and it's like basically just a platform where they
Yeah,
buckle you in the seats, and you're
like
300-400 feet above the ground, and they raise you up, and then you have the chefs in the middle that are cooking and preparing your meals. Quite an interesting experience. I definitely tried to do it when I was in Kuala Lumpur, but it was all booked up. So that sounds like definitely an attraction to see, and probably a unique perspective of the city too, to be sitting
yeah.
up there and trying to enjoy your meal. Meanwhile, you're worried about looking down and not freaking out. But it sounds like you can definitely do a lot within Sao Paulo, and there's a lot to do. Let's say
There.
I was going down there, how many days would you
Oh my
recommend for me to be there?
So a lot of stuff. It's similar to New York, like I said. So it's nearby. It's very close. So you can go by metro. Sometimes you will have to take a bus, but usually metro you can go pretty much everywhere, metro or train. So I think I would say like to explore uh, at least 3 days to explore like everything, you know.
Nice. It sounds like a jam-packed 3 days for sure. What about the outskirts of the city? What can I find when we're making our way out of town?
From where? Sorry.
Just outside the city, like immediately once I leave the metropolitan area, what can I expect to find, at least within the proximity, that maybe I would want to do that's a little bit less traveled, if we want to say that?
Mm, let me see.
What about Campo Jordão?
Campo do Jordão é São Paulo, não é é interior, não é não.
Yes, closer to the Mineiro border. There is
É,
a town that Vivi and I spent some time in. It's kind of a mountain town. It has a European feel, and I believe that it's about 2 hours from Sao Paulo in a certain direction. I think it's north. But something else to consider as well is that
yeah, Campos do Jordão. Yeah, I mean it's nearby, I think, but I'm not sure if it's São Paulo. But I don't think so. But Campos do Jordão, I've never been there, but it's a very like romantic city and looks like you said, it's a very European city. Looks like Germany. If you They had like a post that I saw the other day that they compared like Brazil, that you can find a little bit of everywhere in Brazil, and they were like comparing. I don't know if you saw this post, Winfield. Some like traveling page that I saw, and then it's very interesting because we can find a lot of in Brazil from all over the world. Yeah, Campos do Jordão. It's very, it's beautiful. It's like 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, I think, driving from like São Paulo. So if you have a car, it's definitely, if you rent a car, it's definitely worth to go and see it. Good wine, fundi, nice food.
Good
Have
reasons to go.
nice food. Hmm? Sorry,
Definitely good reasons to go. Good food, good wine. Why
that's
not?
true.
One thing as well that listeners should be aware of in Sao Paulo that I really enjoyed was what's the equivalent of the Brazilian coastal highway. So if anybody has done the Pacific Coast Highway, from Ubatuba down to Santos, that's a really beautiful drive. There are tons of pull-offs, coves, inlets, just really spectacular scenery. Ilha Bella is right off the coast there. We drove by it. We didn't, unfortunately, we weren't able to get over there. I think it's only accessible by ferry. But it's if you have a couple of days and you want to, and you're heading south, so if you're coming from Rio and you stop in Angra dos Reis, or if you stop in Paraty, and if you're heading down along the coast,
that's true. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go to explore the beach in Sao Paulo too, yeah, I mean, there's a beautiful Ubatuba. It's very, very, very beautiful. It's like I was one of the most beautiful beaches before, because I also like a lot the south of Brazil. I'm very like with the talking about beaches, but the Ubatuba is my favorite, in Guarujá, in São Paulo. It's very nice. I mean, if you have the chance to. But it's a little far from this metropolitan area. It's like 2 hours, 3, depending on the traffic. So that's why, I mean, you have to have more, at least like 5 days if you want planning to go to the beach and to visit like Campos and also explore the metropolitan area. You need at least like 5 days.
Yeah, exactly right. And from Santos, which is the main port, or one of the main ports in Brazil, there's this road that if anybody enjoys driving, and I've definitely am in this group, there's a road called Rodovia dos Imigrantes, which could be the most fun road to drive that I have ever been on in the world. This is just a super lane highway with, I think it's 12 tunnels. So you basically go from ground level at Santos, and Sao Paulo is actually in a valley, but it's within the mountains, quote unquote, by Brazilian standards. So it's just under 2,000 meters of elevation, roughly.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's really it's straight up, but it curves around. There's a lot of curves. But this road is, at one point, for probably about 30 or 40 Ks, it's 6 lanes on each side. And I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but I was definitely going over the speed limit. So we'll just leave it at that. Enjoy yourself out there. It is a blast to drive.
With the tickets, because they definitely come. São Paulo. No, but it is. I mean, I never. It's funny because I grew up driving on those. So for me, like it's interesting that you said that, Winfield, because it's when you said that, it really it's actually very interesting. It's a beautiful, beautiful highway, but I've never thought about it my perspective away. It's always normal for me. And you said that I never heard especially you, because you traveled a lot, so I never heard from that perspective, saying, oh, I never drove on a highway like that. So it's interesting.
It's interesting though that how we, not to say take it for granted, or we're just used to it. You growing up there, being around it all the time, you kind of forget how beautiful it is for the first time that you see it in the first place. Even something as simple as a road, which you only think of, you're just getting to a different destination, but there's beauty in everything. And that just sounds awesome, Winfield. And I don't blame
the way that
he
described it's literally like the way he described it, but I never stopped to think about it.
Sure.
For example, a lot of people, when we come here, even I was showing my friend a picture of the bathrooms here, and she was like, oh my god, it looks like the movies, so. And after, for you, for example, that you grew up here, it's okay, I mean, it's normal, a bathtub, and in Brazil we don't have that. So when we see it, a bathtub in the bathroom, it's oh my gosh, it's so it's such a thing. So it's it's kind of interesting how, because we don't like kind of we don't realize some stuff around us until, not that we don't realize, it's just that we, like you said, we just grew up with that. It's kind of normal,
For
whatever.
sure. For sure. I mean, I'm recognizing now I just recently moved to Florida, northern Florida, where I think the max elevation gain is about 20 feet. And so it's amazing to think about that and then picture the mountains, or a city that backs up into the mountains is something that you take for granted when you're around it, right? And I'm sure it's gorgeous scenery, whether you're sitting up having dinner on that crane or you're just driving throughout the city.
I don't remember. It's been such like more than, I don't know, like 6 years since I've been there. But I'm not sure if we have like sightseeing. It's this, I don't know, Greenfield. Do you remember if you have like that we can stop to like take picture? I don't remember. It's kind of very narrow for as far as I remember.
It is, yes. No, there aren't any pull-offs, which is actually, so there's a lane that's almost entirely trucks, because all of the trucks that come in, the freight that comes in, it has to be hauled up this mountain. So there are trucks pretty much in one lane, and there are a few pull-offs once you get to a certain elevation. But I would imagine I was going up, so I was going inland. But if you're coming towards the coast, you must have an even more beautiful view, because you can just see all the way out in front of you for kilometers and kilometers. So it's it's definitely a road that you should check out.
Yeah, that's true. If you like to drive, just check it out.
Even on a bus, it's pretty. I mean,
yeah,
it's not the same. It's definitely not the same exhilaration because you're probably worried about the how much the bus is turning in terms of its radius. But it's definitely worth seeing. But why don't you tell us a bit more about Sao Paulo in the interior? Because there was an interesting division when I first went to Brazil. People talked about how the interior is different from the city or the exterior. And of course, in Portuguese, interior means kind of a rural or a less developed area.
Like rural area. Yeah, so it's very, very different. Even the accent, like even in Sao Paulo, like if you go 2 hours like to Campinas or to Sorocaba, Piracicaba. Oh my God, Piracicaba, it's a college city. Like there's a huge college. USP is there, University of Sao Paulo. And the accent, it's very strong. And they're more, it's safer than the big city, than like living, when you live like literally in Sao Paulo. It's much safer to live in those small cities around. And but it's, I mean, you kind of have everything around you, but it's less crowded, let's would say. um and it's beautiful to see. I would check, I mean, if I was traveling and I wanted like a taste of how it be to be like living and traveling between like a big city and small city, I would go to Piracicaba, because there's a beautiful river over there. I went there twice, I think. I didn't explore much, but as far as I went there, it was good, and the food is good too. And the university is beautiful. You can, explore around. And Campinas is actually like big. It's not that small. Like it's in the interior. We consider interior from when we are. I mean, because we are from Sao Paulo, we consider like a rural area, but it's actually not that small. It's good. There's a lot of jobs and companies, there, and it's growing. But the difference, I mean, your question is about like how different it is from the city, Winfield, like from Sao Paulo.
Yes, and also culturally, because I know there's a very strong cowboy culture and very strong farming culture.
Yeah, yeah,
Sitios,
yeah. Because
which means
mhm.
farm.
Yeah, because we have because it is smaller and it's more like rural area. They have more farms and more like natural food. So let's say if you want like fresh milk, they are going to just knock in your door and like, hey, fresh milk. Like, so, you want some eggs? Like, there's like a car that just sells eggs, and they just have like a big speaker in their car, and they're like, hey, who wants? It's like literally like that, and they just so this is like the main difference. I mean, we have some in Sao Paulo too, but not that much. To have access to that kind of stuff, you either have to know someone like that, have like a small production at home, or brought some from um, brought some from the interior. But the and the music they listen the most is country music from Brazil. I went to a very we call rodeio. I don't know how to say that in English.
Rodeo.
Rodeo is like
Yep.
very country music event, and it was like all the popular singers there, and it's a lot of like food, and you can play some games. It's like a huge party, and goes like all the way from like 11 or 10 p.m. until 7 a.m. in the morning. It's like all night party. It's very interesting, and we do have those kind of stuff in São Paulo, but they copy the way that it is in this small city. It's the original. But in São Paulo we have, but we kind of like we're like copying it, but it's still fun. Still a lot of fun.
No, definitely, and that's one of the things. I mean, we could do a whole episode on Brazilian music and different genres because there are a lot of,
Hmm.
for instance, Brazilian country music, as you just said, it's called sertanejo, but that's one
Sertanejo.
of the subgenres, right?
Yeah, sertanejo. We have um, sertanejo universitário. That's more for younger people. Then we have sertanejo sofrência. That's for more like older people. Sofrência means the person that sings like suffers when this person sings about love, about the love that went away, like some kind of. It's always like something that happened in life that makes the singer. They always sing about something sad. So we call like suffering sertanejo, like suffering country songs. But the rhythm of the dance is a very like you dance a lot, so it's kind of like you sing and then I don't know if you Winfield heard already like evidencias.
No, I'm not familiar with
That's
that.
evidencias.
What
That
was it
song,
called? I'm sorry.
evidencias.
Mhm.
It's one of the most popular song. Like every time we go like to those country, they play the song. It's like from the 90s,
Hmm.
60 something or 70 something. Um, and they nowadays like they're old guys, but this song is like when they like play it, all the club goes like singing and dancing is like super fun.
It's a Brazilian classic.
Yeah. Hmm. It's funny, right?
It's interesting too because there's so many different types of music in Brazil. Because when we think of Brazilian music here, of course, the girl from Ipanema, which I butchered the pronunciation. I'm sorry, I can never say that
Girl,
correctly.
girl from Ipanema.
Ipanema, there we go. And a handful of other bossa nova samba classics. But
Hmm.
I mean, we'd be remiss not to mention funky, happy, which is rap. In Portuguese, the R is silent when it starts a word, so it's
Hmm.
actually pronounced as an H. And there are just so many other genres that are popular, and even the punk rock scene, alternative. There's just such a wealth of not only artists but content and lyrics and songs that are coming out of Brazil.
Yeah, especially from like you said, the funky. So they come from more of the like poor community. So a lot of poor kids, they, let's say, they don't see any uh, way of getting like out of that situation of the poverty, because the poverty in Brazil, some places it's still like very, it's high, and it's poverty, right? We say poverty when like the person is very poor, poverty, right?
Poverty. Yep.
Yeah,
Poverty.
yeah, or impoverished. Yes.
Poverty, yeah. So anyway, so the way they find to escape, it's when they start singing, and um, they sing funky, and they sing about what they experience, and sometimes it's not the best. Uh, how can I say the letter of the song, the lyrics is sometimes it's not the best because of that, because they sing about what they see. So it's like guns and stuff. It's like some rap music too. We do have a lot in Brazil, but it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they are becoming very popular. In the beginning, we're more like in favelas. When you go like to Rio, that's when you were going to listen more funky. But now it's like everywhere, and a lot of people are coming from those places, and they are very rich now, very wealthy, just singing their song and living their life, and they are very proud of it, proud of where they come. For example, Anita, she just released like she used a little bit of this lyric, the melody from Girl from Ipanema, but it's more like uh, neo, like the way it's more like the the song is more like the way it is right now in Brazil, the way that we are like more right now, but it still has something from the past. So it's very nice. She did a very, uh, I think, I don't know if you heard that song, Girl from Rio Winfield.
Yes, we listened to it last weekend when you were here, but
Yeah, yeah. Did you like it? Right, you like it?
yes, it's different because it
It makes it fun.
incorporates the same melody as you said with kind of a new twist on, should we
Mm-hmm.
say, 2021 Brazil.
To make it more, yeah, to make it more neo, like more fresh.
Since we're on the topic of music and festivities and partying, I know, at least for me and a lot of people up in North America and the US, when they think of this, they think of Rio, but I know that Carnival is still celebrated, all
Everywhere.
over.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, 2021 being the circumstances that they
Mm.
were wasn't the case. But
Yes.
have
No, but
you experienced Carnival before?
so yeah, I went to the carnival in Sao Paulo.
Hmm.
It's Iguape. It's a beach area. No, it's more, yeah, it has some beach, but it's also like it's very small beach in Sao Paulo, Iguape, and it's like an hour and a half or 2 hours. But so if you go like around Carnival area to Brazil, you should go to Iguape because it's so much fun. It has like the beach around. It has they closed what like the main street of the city. It's a small city, remember? So they close it and they have the huge cars, and you go and you drink and you dance. It's so much fun. So much fun. I remember the last time I was like 2012 or 2013 when I went for this carnival. Yeah, it was very good. But I never went to the now, because when I came here, that was starting to become more popular. The carnival in São Paulo, like São Paulo streets. I think I came once, yeah, but it was more like uh, so they it's near Rua Augusta or Paulista. They have like some huge cars. They put some songs on it, like trio elétrico. I don't know how to say that in field. I'm sorry for you
Yeah,
know
electronic trio. You're right, but
yeah,
those
like a
kind of
trio, like a
those
trio.
huge trucks with speakers that they load on the back,
Yeah.
kind of like a block party.
Yeah. So they have that too in São Paulo. Now it's getting, like I said, I think I experienced one time in Brazil. because when I came here, it was becoming more popular in Sao Paulo. But in Rio, because in Rio it is like huge, like the thing. But in Sao Paulo was not that thing. But then now it's popular everywhere. They have this kind of like the beer, the producers of the beer, they finance everything, they have a lot of big parties when it's thing like carnival parties. It's very, if you go to Brazil, you're gonna have fun wherever you go. But São Paulo and Rio, it's definitely, I think, the biggest, and have more like a lot of stuff to do, and more like people from all over the world.
Mm.
What's interesting as well is that Carnival, which I didn't know before going down to Brazil, is that it's very state-based and very regional. So there are different traditions for each state,
Mm-hmm.
and there are different styles of Carnival, whether it's on the beach, when we think of Rio, or whether it's in the middle of Paulista, as in Sao Paulo, or whether it's
Yes.
in Ouro Preto, which is a beautiful colonial town that's full of
I've
students
never
year
been, but
round.
I've heard it's amazing. I've never been in Ouro Preto, like not even to Carnaval or to the city, but it's a very like because it's a college city. Like there's some colleges around. It's a very festive city. So when it's talk about Carnival, they do their thing there. So they think it's like unique. I have a friend that she went there and she told me that it's like super fun.
No, definitely. And going back to what we were talking about earlier regarding Sao Paulo and things to see and do there, one
Mhm.
thing for travelers to keep in mind year round is that on the weekends, Avenida Paulista, which is the main drag, is shut down to traffic. You have to check the exact times, but it's during the day. And what's really nice is that it's filled with food vendors, and you can try
That's true.
craft beers, you can try cachaça, you can try whatever you'd like, and everything there. There aren't any open container laws in Brazil, so
Yeah,
you can walk around with a
with your
drink,
beer.
and no one's going to
Mhm.
bother you.
No, you can just grab your beer and start walking, and that's fine. That was the most interesting thing for you, right, Oinfo, when we went there, right? I remember you saying that to me. I was like, that's so funny. You were like, Camila, I opened my beer. I was drinking, like, I got him at the bus. I was like, yeah, let's drinking my beer. Oh my God.
Always have to be compliant with the legality, especially overseas. But yes, that was a pretty freeing experience to just walk into a 7-Eleven, grab a beer. Oh, they'll open. You want me to open it for you? Why, yes. Thank you, good sir.
I would have to agree with Winfield on this one. It is a strange experience when you have that the first time. Camila, if you grew up where there were no open container laws, it's a little bit different. Here,
Hmm.
let's just say it's not the same.
Yeah.
So I can see why you would bring that up to you for sure.
Yeah, no, but
That's
it's
hilarious.
but like you said, to go to Avenida Paulista when they close, it's good because they have like all the um lanes that you can ride your bike and whatever, like skate, roller skate, everything. It's skateboard. It's very interesting, and it's fun because you can go to one point to the other, like walking, enjoy and have fun, and getting closer to like Ibirapuera, and then let's go to Augusta and just get a bus, and it's easier to go around. It's easier to go around, and another thing is also to, unfortunately, in São Paulo, there's some like a lot of like, they quickly can get some stuff, from you, robbery, so just to make sure you always have your stuff in your pocket, not like showing around, like taking pictures all the time, just make sure you're always safe. But this is everywhere, I mean, especially big cities. When you're in like a country, like interior, it's you can be more, or the beach, more relaxing. But when you're in the main city, just try to be aware.
Yeah,
No,
I think you're right, where it is very similar to everywhere. When you go into a big city and you get a
Yeah.
condensed population within a small
When
amount
I went
of
to Paris, I was
space.
looking like I was kind of scared, and they said some stuff to me like, "Oh, just be careful," and this and that. I was like, "Oh my God!" And then they were like, they sell you stuff when you get to the Eiffel Tower. They try to put stuff in your arm. I was like, like I don't want anything. Just like, no.
Yep.
That's very, yeah.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, but tell us a bit more about the food in Sao Paulo. I know that we've talked on numerous occasions about how Brazilian pizza eclipses all, and also the quality of sushi in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, I
One
was
of
going
your
to say
personal
that.
favorites. So give us some insights into that.
Oh my God, it's there is a place called Ioama in Brazil. Uh, it's a little pricey, but not that much compared. It's a little, not much compared to others, and it's one of my favorites. Like it's amazing. It's all you can eat, and they serve even like picanha, like the meat. They serve everything at this sushi place, and they have like shiitake. That's like a mushroom. Very the way they prepare it's very unique. So good. So I miss that so much, and it's the best sushi ever. Like in São Paulo, I've never tried a sushi like that until like São Paulo until last weekend when I went to Miami and I went to a place. There's like a Brazilian guy that he does a nice sushi here in US. So if you are here in US and you wanna see how it looks like, just check it out. And the name is Cone. It's in Miami City in Beach. It's very very similar, and I was like, oh my god. Oh my god, I remember so much my sushi from São Paulo. That thanks for the sushi. It's very good. So pizza in Brazil, I would definitely recommend Charlie's. It's a little bit you might have to take like an Uber or a bus from like some metro station, but it's probably not gonna be like hard to find. But Charlie's, they have all you can eat, so it's this very small pieces of pizza, like of all kinds of pizza from Brazil, and then you're gonna probably say, "Oh, this is chicken." They have meat. They have sausage, pizza, cheese, four cheese pizza, all kinds, like all kinds. So it's very interesting. Um, I really, really like pizza and the pastel. Pastel is I mean, I know I said is I love the sushi and the pizza, but I think my favorite food, and I can't find like anything like that here. I tried already, even Brazilian communities that we have here. Is pastel. The pastel from São Paulo, even from other states. If you go to other states, it's not gonna be the same. I don't know why. Pastel from São Paulo is the best. They have like a different like a pastel is like how can I say? It's like a dough, a very thin dough that you fry. You can put some toppings inside, like cheese, chicken, whatever, and then you just close and then you fry it. And it's very yummy, very yummy. And usually Sunday or Saturday, they close some streets around São Paulo when all the small uh, business they go to sell fruits, some from like the interior, from the country cities. Some they go to the big cities, so they close one street usually, and they have these tents. So you go and you buy the fruits, fresh vegetables, and also they have this pastel. That was my favorite thing to do when I was little. Mom, when we were going to the to this, I forgot. We have a name here, Winfield, for this. Just forgot the name. When you have the forfeira, like this kind of when you have a small I forgot a name now.
Oh, you mean parties like for a children's birthday party?
No, like the when they come to sell like stuff from the country cities to here, like
Oh,
fresh,
sure.
like
Sure. Like a farmer's market.
farmers
Farmers
Yeah.
market.
Yeah, it's like a farmer's market, but it's every week they go and they have it and they have food like so this pastel. It's so good, and they have like a sauce, and it's just go and try it, guys, because you're gonna thank me.
You're blowing my mind here because sushi, pizza, and then your pastel dish is not what I would think of when I think of Brazil. I think of red meat and a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, I know I love red meat, but I'm not. That's maybe because my personal, like, I'm not a super meat person, but it's really good. There's a lot of nice places to eat. Fogo de chão. I mean, that at least they have it here. Fogo de chão is a very good
Oh yeah.
in Brazil too. It's very popular, but they have small ones that's as good as fogo de chão, but has like all you can eat is very good.
Hmm.
And feijoada. Feijoada is also it's not one of my favorites, but it's a very unique dish from Brazil. Feijoada, it's beans, black beans, and some pork meat, and a little taste of basil that makes like that taste,
Hmm.
and some rice, and then they have some collard green. They slice it very thin. They cook it. They fry it, and you have it like with some kind of like a flour they make. Like they fry some bacon and little stuff. And they put everything on a side. So you put everything together in your plate, and it's good. It's called feijoada. It's basically beans, rice, and this kind of salad. It's very, very good.
Hmm. That sounds delicious.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I forgot to tell about coxinha e brigadeiro too. Very good, right, Winfield?
Oh yes, yes. No, indeed. I would say feijoada is more or less considered the national dish of Brazil, at least overseas. I think that's what we think of. But
Mhm.
going back to your pastel story, the first time I had pastel, one of the best pastels. It might not have been the very first one. A pastel is kind of, think of an empanada but rectangular. So
Mhm.
it's just a larger. It's the same kind of thing, deep fried in typically
Mhm.
dende oil, palm oil. But one of the best ones I had was on 25 de Março, so the 25th of March street in
Oh, that's so good.
in Sao Paulo, with spicy shrimp inside. It
Mm.
was, yeah, it was basically a seafood stew
Mm.
infused, and this was just a roadside stall. So it,
Yeah, you
yeah,
think like no, it's we have to you have to eat in a fancy, but no, in Brazil you can find like a nice restaurant right there, like small but clean, and it's good. Brazil has a lot of places that you go, and you're just gonna have a good experience. There's a
right,
Volvino's Steakhouse. It's very popular and very good food too. And it's not that expensive. It's like right there in Paulista. They have not Paulista. It's like Rua Augusta, which is like crossing Paulista, and also they have in more like center of Sao Paulo, in, uh, near 25 de Março, which is a very popular market street. People go there to buy everything. You can find everything there. Everything you wanna find. You just go to 25. They can fix your phone. They go from like fixing your phone to like bride, like dressing, like everything you think they have there. Very good. A shopping street.
oh, exactly. And you mentioned coxinha earlier, and we have to explain what that is because this is a delicacy probably originated with the Portuguese, but it's kind of a what's called salgados. So imagine deep fried, large, sort of arancini balls. To make a comparison with Italian cuisine, but it can be infused with anything from cheese to meat to a mixture of what's called catupiry, which is kind of a
Catupiry.
Brazilian cream cheese, which is really delicious and
Mm-hmm.
hard to hard to find outside of Brazil. You can see
It
I'm
is.
getting very hungry here, but why don't you take it away, Camilla?
Oh my god, catupiry, coxinha, frango catupiry is oh my god, it's the best. They have it some small like market here, but sometimes could be expensive. But you know what, Winfield, in Orlando, they have a nice Brazilian pizzeria that's very similar to the ones in São Paulo. I went there like 2 years ago, I think, and they have like a partnership with catupiry, the brand, like cheese brand. So all the pizzas are made with this kind of cheese. Everything there, it's very good. It's called, oh my god, pie faction. Like instead of perfection, it's like pie faction, something like that.
Perfection. No, that's creative.
Yeah, I think it's something like that, and it's very good. A lot of like famous Brazilian, when they go to Orlando, they stay around. They go there. They have pictures of like a lot of famous people there. Interesting.
And one thing we haven't touched on yet, what would travelers expect price-wise in Brazil? I know that there's been a lot of fluctuation between the real and the dollar recently. Give us a little bit of insight into how much things cost and what you can expect to pay on different budgets.
In real, let's say for like a meal, a dinner, you're gonna spend at least like in real would be like 60 or 30 reais. I mean, it depends on how fancy, but if you were looking, but we have Brazil has like places for all budgets. It doesn't matter how is your budget, you're gonna find it, But let's say something between 30 reais to 60. That's like $10 or to like $20 a meal, daily with like everything. So it's not that bad, It's,
No, it doesn't
definitely.
sound bad at all. Actually, very affordable. Especially, I could see in both of your faces how you light up about this food. So I think it's worth spending the 10 or $20 for it. No problem. It's good to
and I
know what the
also have
budget for
another.
the.
I forgot to mention in Sao Paulo we have a place called Mercadão. Did you go there, Winfield?
I don't think so.
Mercadão is near 25 de Março, and they have a huge, popular mortadella sandwich. Mortadella,
I've heard about this.
it is very good. It's that big. Like they make tons and tons and tons of levels of the mortadella, and they cut in half, and then it's good. It's good.
I wish I had already
Cheese and
eaten dinner by
everything.
now because now I'm ravenous.
You should go when you go back there, Winfield, to Brazil. And if you go to Greece
That's the
too.
plan. Yeah, definitely trying to get down there. So I'm taking all of this in here. I'm glad we're recording it so I can write all this down because I have a lot to catch up on.
That's good. That's interesting.
But overall, I think we're about to wrap up here. But just to cover the price issue, in terms of accommodation, in terms of food, in terms of excursions, it's pretty reasonable in that if you're coming from the U.S. or North America, would you say Brazil is pretty affordable overall?
Yeah, even if you are like from another state to Brazil, I would say yes. I mean, like I said, in Brazil, when I was growing up, and even like my family, when they come to visit, in Brazil, we have the culture. People, most of the times, they stay in your place. Doesn't matter if you don't have a huge room. You just put tons of mattress on the floor, and then you just stay there. But so I'm not familiar like how much would cost, especially now because I'm not there for such a long time. But let's say I would say like at least it's affordable even going because like there's like hostel, you can stay even if you go to the beach. There's like some less expensive places and also has the fancier places that you can go. But I would say it's affordable. I mean, if you plan, it's affordable even from Brazilian people from other states but talking about people coming from North America to go to Brazil, it's pretty decent. Even I think the ticket flight coming through here to there, you can find some flights. It depends on when, like from like 500 to 800. So it's okay. Like
being that it's so the distance is pretty great. The airfare is definitely the hefty hit to the wallet for sure. But I know I'm doing some research myself as far as getting down there in early December, and that's in between holidays here in North America where some people do travel and they look to do a little bit more going overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And I could say it's definitely affordable from what I've seen. I'm a little bit more on the budget side as far as my travel goes. So you mentioned hostels first. That's where I would
Mm-hmm.
first look at. And
Plus, if you're
yeah, generally
traveling by
speaking,
yourself,
sure.
you should definitely go to a hostel because you can also like find people from other countries, but also even locals from. Sometimes I like some friends from like São Paulo. They just go to the beach and they just stay in a hostel, just because they're going alone, or you know, just to save some money, and
Yeah.
they can meet other people that's traveling alone too, and that's it. It's because you're never alone.
That's my thought process as well. Not to mention, if you're in your hostel all day, every day, enough to realize that you're spending so much time in a room with other people, then you're just not doing it right. You need to get
Mm-hmm.
out onto the town, go around, and you're really just looking for a place to put your bag and somewhere to sleep at night. So it's a great way to meet people. Winfield and I have talked about this several times on the podcast. You're really never alone, as you mentioned. Sometimes you actually
Yeah.
have to go out of your way to be
Mm-hmm.
alone, which is
That's
contrary to what most people think as solo travel. It's just
that's
easy
true.
when
I'm
you're
not.
in the right environment
I've
to meet people.
never traveled by myself, but
Mm.
I have some friends. They did, and I travel like only with one buddy, but I am always with someone. But I would say it's pretty nice and adventure to do that.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
interesting.
That it definitely is.
Mhm.
So to wrap up here, we just want to go through our signature lightning round. We're going to ask you 10 questions, Camila, and are you ready?
10 questions. Okay. Let me. Yeah, let's
So,
go.
what? All right. One wish. What would it be?
One wish. To this pandemic to be over, and
That's that's a very profound one, and especially
to
for
like
Brazil.
everyone to be safe, and
Hmm.
yeah, especially for Brazil. I just want everything to be back to normal.
Right. No, I think we're hopefully heading in the right direction, and hopefully we've turned a corner. But agree that things need
Yeah,
to get back on that track. Which country do you want to visit the most, and why?
I really want to go to Thailand
Hmm.
because I have some friends that visit there, and they said it's very beautiful there. And I was also like doing some research in it, and it's a very beautiful place, and it's cheap to go. But also Greece. Oh my God, Greece too. So those two is my in my like top of my bucket list.
Both great choices. What's one thing that you still really want to do in Brazil that you haven't experienced yet?
Going to the Cataratas do Niagara. It's in close to. It's in the border with Argentina.
Hmm.
Argentina. Yeah. So I really want to go there, and also um, to do some hikings in Brazil because I wasn't. Now I'm more into hikings than I was when I came. So I really want to go back to Brazil and do some because we have very nice hikings in Brazil, and I want to do that. I want to experience that.
No, definitely.
Mhm.
The interior and the mountains there are
Mhm.
stunning and often overlooked. What's the strangest thing you've eaten?
Just trying to think of it in. It's goat meat.
Ah, okay.
It's like a
Yep.
barbecue goat meat. It's very popular in my daddy's city, and now I mean I ate when I was little, but now I don't think I would be like um in terms of trying again. I don't know.
Cabra, right?
And also bode is
Boja, sorry.
the male, but and also but this thing I love it's the ankle of the it's mokotó. We call that Winfield. I don't know if you tried or had a chance of
That's
heard
popular
about
in Northeast, right?
popular in Northeast because my mom is from there. So it's the ankle of the cow. Like they cook it and it's very good the way they prepare. It's weird, weird, but it's good.
That's okay. That's exactly what the question was aimed at.
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite thing about Brazil?
Uh, the happiness. Brazilian people are we are very happy people. Doesn't matter. Like I see some poor people, rich people. Doesn't matter. Like it's not about money. It's kind of inside. Like we are very happy and family people. Like we love to be with our family. Family is super important. That's what I love the most about Brazilian people in Brazil. You know,
Definitely the passion. It's
the passion.
yeah. It really comes through even as just a traveler. People with the way they interact with you, you can tell that they genuinely care, even if they can't speak English.
Mm-hmm. Even
They
they can't do
really
much.
want to help.
Exactly. Want to help around. Even if they don't speak English, let's say you ask something, they will like try to find something. Oh no, come here. Just text me. Just write it down. Maybe like they're gonna show the phone to you. Just gonna make something to happen. You know, it is definitely like that.
What's the must-see attraction in Brazil?
Um, even I know I'm from Sao Paulo, but I would say Rio. Christ the Redemptor.
Exactly. That's what I would think too. Just because it's so iconic, and of course Sugarloaf Mountain too, right?
Sugar Love. Yeah, I mean, hmm it's very, it's tourist points, you know. But I would definitely also check the northeast of Brazil. Like really love in Sao Paulo, of course, but I'm saying some other places.
What's one tip you have for travelers?
Um, to try to explore the food as much as you can. Like try to eat some different kind of food every day. Like not every day at a once. I mean, not everything at a once, but at least like try to. Okay, let's see. This is like the most popular thing. Okay, I'll try this today, tomorrow, and try to get like a taste of Brazil. Because if you eat something from this, you can have some from, like, for example, pão de queijo is from Minas, but you're gonna easily find in São Paulo. So you're gonna have a taste of Minas in São Paulo. So with the food, you're gonna be connected. Like you can find some food from Northeast in São Paulo, as well. So I would say that try to eat as much as you can.
Well, after this episode, I'm definitely going to have to go to a Brazilian padaria, a bakery. That's we've been talking too much about Brazilian food.
I think it's a great answer though, because
Oh my
the
god,
food
I'm
is
going
such
to
an
do some tapioca now because
food is such an integral part of any culture. So, the more you can try, the more you can definitely experience the culture, which is a big aspect. You were mentioning the different spots in Rio.
Mhm.
Tourist attractions are that for a reason, but cultural is entirely different. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely want that food.
What motivates you to travel?
Um, I want to know. I mean, it's because I'm curious. That's what motivates me. That because I'm a curious person. So I always like. I want to know. Like, and and I don't just want to know. I want to see. I want to try. I want to ask like a local. I want to. So that's why I think it's very interesting this podcast of you. I have to say that now because it's a very easy way of getting a tip from some other countries, talking with the person that's from that country. It's very interesting. I like that.
We're the same way. That's one of our main motivations, is just learning, and then learning from others, but also sharing our experiences.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's very good. Mm-hmm.
What do you recommend in terms of mode of transport to get around Brazil?
So in Brazil, it's very it's not the best, like the most how can I say, the most, I forgot the word now, like sometimes you're gonna find like crowd, like buses around, but it's actually very, there's a lot of buses. It's not, I forgot the words, like it's not, sometimes it's not gonna be right there when you need, but you have tons of bus, um, metro. In Sao Paulo, right? In small cities, they don't have metro, but it's still like you can go around. Bus, it's definitely like you can go everywhere with bus, and even like from one state to the other, you can go from all the way to the north of Brazil to the south with a bus. It's easily. It's gonna be like a 3 days drive. It is gonna be 3 days drive, but you're gonna get there eventually. Because here, I was trying to find a bus from here to. There was a time that I was looking at. I don't know. I just was curious, looking around too, because I was wondering maybe I can go like by bus to like explore around. I didn't want to drive. I couldn't find from here to Florida.
Yeah, it's difficult to find buses around here, so
Yeah.
they've definitely dwindled the options for sure. You have Greyhound, Megabus is one of the cheaper options as well. That does the northeast corridor as well as like the north to south route. But
Yeah, but you
yeah,
can go from here, like from Maryland to New York. Yeah, I mean, but from
yeah.
here to the south, I don't know. I don't know.
No, you
But
find that you have to take multiple different ones and connect around. So, like you
yeah,
said, you'll get there eventually, but it might take you a little while.
yeah, no, but like for example, there's no you buy a ticket from like Sao Paulo to like this small city, and you just go all the way, like, and then you stop, then just have something to eat. But it's like 2 or 3 days driving usually. But it's. I mean, like I said, you can go everywhere with bus around in Brazil. And also now we have Uber in the big cities, as far as I know, because Uber was very brand new when I came to US. So it was like, so in Sao Paulo, I know it's very popular. Like you can go everywhere in Sao Paulo using Uber and also cabs. But um, I don't know about the other, cities. I mean, small cities. First, I mean, I'm pretty sure like capitals like Minas, like Belo Horizonte, they're gonna have it. But I don't know about other small cities. So I would say bus.
those long distance drives with the bus, do you know if they're sleeper buses or just regular seats?
No, they have sleeper buses.
Sleeper buses. Yeah, that's awesome, because that's what I took to get around Vietnam, similar to what you're explaining. You can buy a ticket and you can go 16, 17-hour bus ride to different places, but they're the sleeper buses. So
yeah,
people listening might not understand that you don't actually have to sit upright for 18 hours or 72 hours, 3 days. These are actually more, think of like I don't want to call it first class because let's not go there. But you can at least be horizontal-ish, so it makes it a little more accessible, as well as
if you want to
being able to put up with it.
If you want to pay less, I mean, you can go. It always depends on your budget.
Yeah, if you want to pay less, you could also walk too. So just might take you a little while.
But fun fact to wrap up about buses as well: the longest scheduled bus journey in the world goes from Rio to Lima, Peru, and it takes 6 days. That's on a good day without weather issues in the Amazon. And there's a great documentary about it on YouTube that chronicles each stage of the journey. It's truly one for the traveler's record book. So anyone that's listening out there that wants a challenge, that's definitely something you should look into.
That's interesting. That's crazy though.
It's a long one, but it's worth it. You're gonna see a lot. And to wrap things up, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just gonna say you're either gonna be best friends or worst enemies with the people on that bus.
By the end of the trip, it's like
by the end, yeah, 6 days.
I think there was only 2 people in the documentary that made it all the way to Lima. Everybody else got off along the way because, as Camila was saying, it stops multiple times, right? So it definitely takes some perseverance to get there, but you'll get there eventually.
Eventually.
And final question of the lightning round: if there is one if there was one experience you could relive in your life, what would it be?
My last experience in Hawaii. Because I got proposed. So
that's fantastic. And you're engaged now. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was super. I can't describe it. I did like a 10 hours hiking. I was covered like with mud and everything. I was sweating. I was like, ah. And then all of a sudden, my fiance was like, "Hey, you want to marry me?" I was like, "What?" I was like, it was so surprising, but yet so good. So I would definitely redo it.
Awesome.
Shout out to Fernando for the most romantic proposal, Hawaiian style.
That's you, right? Oh my god.
And to wrap things up, Camila, thank you so much for your time today. We had a blast taking us through Sao Paulo and all of Brazil.
Thank
Really
you.
enjoyed it. Hope to
Thank
have
you
you
so
back
much. I
on
enjoyed a
back
lot.
on the show at some point. And it was a great time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you. It was
it.
great meeting you. Appreciate the time, Camila.
Thank you. It was very, very, very fun. I had so much fun. You guys are doing a nice, incredible job doing that because it's very, like I said, it's very interesting to have this, like, it's like, you just go there and you just have all the chips you need. Like, you just listen to a quick podcast. It's very, and you have like, looking from a local perspective eye. So it's very interesting. Very nice. Thank you guys for
Appreciate it.
bringing that.
Thank you. That's
for
our
your
objective.
time. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Take
Bye
care.
bye, guys.
Well, now I just got to get up and dance to some funk and samba my way back over to Rio. Between that, the caipirinhas and the churrasco, I'm thoroughly famished.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part about this podcast is listening to everyone's stories, talking about the food, the culture, the life, and sitting here wishing we were there, whether it be down in Brazil or all the other guests that we've had on. It's just an amazing, amazing experience. So we thank you, Camila, for coming on, sharing some insight into the culture and life down in Brazil. We hope to see you there soon. In person. I know Winfield and his lovely wife are getting down there much sooner than I am. And who knows, Winfield, I hope to take you up on that offer of joining you down there. But guys, as always, thank you for listening. We appreciate your time. If you like what you heard, show us some love. We're on social media at Instagram, on Facebook, YouTube, and I think pretty much every platform. I can't even keep count anymore. But the name is Locales Unknown. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to reach out to us there, or you can contact us at contact@localesunknown.com. And of course, we're going to shamelessly ask you for some love as well on wherever you get your podcasts. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Leave us a review. Leave us some comments. We love to hear your feedback. And this is all for you. We're trying to help shed some light on various ways to travel where it's not just the beaten path of a tourist. We want to help you get off that route, experience the immersive culture that is in every single country out there. So let's keep this train going. Thank you for the time, guys. Until next time, we will talk to you soon.